Hello again. Today we're going to take a look at some footage where I was able to get some work done on cleaning the stickers. So as you can see, there's the little crate that I built last video, and I've got quite a few of these stickers that are currently a little over an inch. And what I'm doing is going through the entire stack and cutting them down so they will be slightly over 3/4 of an inch, and then I'll adjust the table saw fence and then run the other, so I'll go on two sides to make them slightly over 3/4 of an inch, and then I'll go back through after adjusting the table saw and cut the third and fourth sides so that they are down to all being a 3/4 of an inch. And these are all technically scrap wood from milling other stuff, so they're basically free lumber, aside from the cost of running the table saw to clean them and running the mill to cut them initially. But the one thing that I don't like about them is when they're rough cut, the boards come off the sawmill pretty smooth, but they don't stay that way, because as they dry, they become really furry, I guess. The ends of the fibers tend to start sticking out and end up with a lot of slivers, potentially. But this helps. Now that they've had some time to dry a fair amount, this will help keep them clean. And some of these came off the mill at like 1x2 size. Some of them came off the mill at a 1x1 size. As long as they had, for this purpose, mostly no wane. I don't mind a little bit of wane being on the 2x4s, or especially some of the bigger, 4x6, 4x4, things like that, 2x10s, whatever. If there's just a little bit of wane, which, if you aren't aware, wane is the rounded part of the log that ends up in a cut board. So there is a board here on the right side of the screen that you can actually see that, where it's a 2x6 that has quite a bit of wane. So that particular board could be cut down to maybe a 2x4 and be usable, or it could be used as something, if I could use it as a girt, for instance. Put the wane side towards the posts of the structure, and then that way I still have a 6-inch nailing surface for the board and batten. But on these little guys, if it's only an inch or 3/4 of an inch, that's a pretty small surface, so a little bit of wane makes a big difference. And they tend to be wobbly, which doesn't necessarily matter if you've got an 8-foot board. I've got 5 stickers spaced underneath that board, so one of them being a little wobbly wouldn't be an issue, but I figure I can afford to be a little bit picky. So I actually intentionally set the table saw up where it is. You can see it's blowing most of the sawdust, pretty much all of the sawdust is blowing off of the my temporary floor here, and that is specifically so that I can use that sawdust to help firm up some of the muddy area behind or I guess in front of well, I guess it depends on how you look at it. The front of the trailer frame is to my back at the moment. It's towards the camper at the far end of the camper. But as far as the front of the functional trailer, the front door is going to be right here, behind where the table saw is. What I had to do here was stop the saw, and I felt like it was blowing more sawdust up at me than it should have, which occasionally it does if a piece of board, little thin strip gets down in there and plugs the vent. So I had to clean that out. But I moved the crate now that I've got all of the rough pieces out, so that I can start stacking them into the crate. My goal was to try and streamline that, so as I cut them now, I can just drop them in the crate. And I'm taking all the scrap pieces and sort of sorting them and stacking them a little bit. There's a little white bucket there behind the table saw that I set up on its side, so I can snap all these really thin pieces, and then they make great fire starter once they're completely dry. So like literally everything that I can on these logs that I have is being used in some way or another. On some of them, depending on the species, even the bark will get used. We've got a bunch of rabbit hides that we're working on learning how to tan. They've just been salted, so they're preserved at the moment, but I need to gather up all the bark from the Douglas fir logs that we have, and I can use that to actually tan those and make leather out of them. I also have a couple of other hides, elk and deer, that have been given to me by a friend for the same purpose. So that'll be a fun project, but it is a matter of time in trying to figure out when I have the ability to take that time to do it. So we've just spread a bunch of salt on the hides for now, and now that I have a little bit of a workspace, I try to keep it reasonably clean, so trying to blow the sawdust out, and then realized I was getting a little bit smoked out there. So I tried to see if I could stoke the fire with the leaf blower, and it worked while it was running, but I needed to get a little bit more heat going in the bottom of the burn barrel, so I ended up just letting it go. But so this is what I was talking about. Now you can see that I'm taking these and I'll run them down on side 3, turn it and run it down side 4, and then I'm dropping them in the crate. This way they'll all be uniform, and of everything that I have currently stickered, I've got now pretty much like, I don't know, 80-ish% of them cut down to 3/4 of an inch now. So I'm gonna do this another time, but I'm gonna wait until I work my way through the stack that I have on a pallet, because there's a whole bunch of stickers on that pallet also. I'll end up having to build another crate in addition. So I have a stable crate that will hold slightly longer ones. I can always use a shorter one and just put 2 of them next to each other and span the distance if I've got a 3-foot pallet, for instance, or whatever. And I didn't even realize that Emily had come by to burn a little bit of the carbon trash that we have, get rid of some of the paper, and that explains why there was little bits of ash flying around everywhere. That is what I have to do when I end up dropping something through those floor slats. I have to try and reach down. Luckily I have long arms, so I can reach down and grab stuff, but I think one or two of them fell down there. So here I knew that the battery was going to be dying soon, and I thought I would give you a little bit of a tour so you can see the emergency ditch that I had to dig, because it turned out a lot more water came through here than we anticipated. My other ditch did a good job of taking the majority of the water through here, but a lot of the water was still coming down, like directly underneath the camper. There's our first yard hydrant that we still need to get a supply for, and then over here you can see all the stack of lumber that we worked on, or that I worked on, and some of the ash that was flying around. So thank you for watching. God bless you and yours, and stay safe out there.